Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm Hannah Blackwell, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my entire physical retellings TBR. So this is going to be all of the fairy tale, myth, and like folktale retellings that I own that I want to read that I haven't read yet. So this is my TBR, my to be read retellings. Before we get started, I just wanted to let you know that all of my social media is linked down below. If you want to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, all that jazz. And if you have not already subscribed, I would love for you to do so. As most of you know, Once Upon a Readathon is running all month long in November. That is the readathon that I'm hosting. I have 16 amazing co-hosts. And yeah, we are just all reading together, following these steps, trying to gain eternal life by getting to and then climbing the apple tree. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then go ahead and click the link below to watch my readathon announcement video that has all of the details that you need if you want to follow along. If you want to participate in the readathon, you can participate and you can sign up all the way up to like the last day in November. You just have to sign up for the readathon before you enter in your books, and you can totally enter in the books that you had that fit the prompts in November at the end if you want to, as long as they're done in order. And so yeah, without further ado, let's just get into my retellings TBR. So I'm going to start us out with a couple of middle grades, and these are both by Sophie Anderson. And the first one is The House with Chicken Legs, and this is a Baba Yaga retelling about Marinka, who is the daughter of Baba Yaga, but all Marinka wants is a friend. And so this is her story. It's a cute little middle grade that I've been dying to read for a very long time, and I cannot wait to get to this one. The next book by Sophie Anderson is The Girl Who Speaks Bear, and I don't know what retelling this is, but I do know it is a retelling. But it's basically about Yanka, who was found in a bear cave as a baby, and she wants to go on a journey and find out who she really is and where she came from. I am really excited to read this one as well. I hear amazing things about Sophie Anderson. She writes middle grades, and they're generally Slavic or Russian folktale retellings. And so I do want to dive in. I just don't read middle grade very often, but when I do want to pick one up, she'll be pretty high on my list. Next is a Sleeping Beauty retelling that was gifted to me by one of my really close friends, Brittany, and this is called Enchantment, and it's by Orson Scott Card. And I hear that it's ethereal and beautiful, and yeah, it's about this guy that stumbles upon this woman who's sleeping. And it's a fairy tale retelling, and I hear it's really wonderful. It's my friend's favorite book of all time, so that makes me definitely want to pick it up. The next is Daughter of the Forest by Juliette Marillier. I talk about this nonstop on my channel, and I still haven't read it, but I am reading it this month, so I feel like I should just stop yakking your ear off about it. But it is a retelling. It is set in Ireland, I believe. It's a Celtic retelling. I could be wrong, but it's about Sorsha, whose brothers have been cursed by this enchantress, and she needs to break the curse. And I hear it's flipping wonderful. It's most people's favorite Juliette Marillier book, and I am definitely looking forward to picking this up very soon. It's going to be one of the next books I pick up this month, so hopefully I get to it. I can't wait to just like tell you guys, okay, I read it. I read it. The next I have a Sapphic Snow White fairy tale retelling, and that's Girls Made of Snow and Glass. I don't know anything about this, but yeah, it's about Mina, the stepmother queen, and Lynette, the beautiful princess. And I think it is atmospheric and wintry in setting, so it may be a good time to pick this one up over the next few months. Next I have two books by Grace Draven, and they are both Beauty and the Beast retellings. I have Radiance here, and I also have Entreat Me, and they are both Beauty and the Beast retellings. I hear that this one is basically like a marriage, like a forced kind of marriage between two families. They've been promised to one another. They're not attracted to each other, but they become close friends, and then from there it becomes like a friends to lovers story. I hear the humor in this is really good as well. This one I hear is like a slow burn, dark Beauty and the Beast retelling But I know a little bit less about this because I just haven't heard as much about it. We have a warlord who is afflicted by a century-old curse. And then possibly two sisters, maybe one they believe maybe the one to save him, but it might be her sister. I'm not sure. I think this might be enemies to lovers. So basically two different ways to go about Beauty and the Beast. This is a very loose retelling, and I think this one is much closer to the original. Next I have Neon Gods by Katie Robert. I started this and soft DNF'd it. I do want to go back to it, but I've not really had much luck with Hades and Persephone retellings so far. But that's what this is. It's a Hades and Persephone retelling, but it's not fantasy. This is set more like crime lords, rulers of this city. This is in the same universe as her Wicked Villains series, but it's a different city. And yeah, this is just a very straightforward Hades and Persephone retelling, except for made into like a contemporary dark romance setting. I will pick this one back up. It is on my TBR, but when, I don't know. Generally, I'm a huge fan of Katie Robert. It's just, this wasn't doing it for me at the time. It wasn't what I expected from Katie Robert. And so now I know to expect, I guess, I don't know, something different. We shall see. But this is a favorite of a lot of friends of mine. Next book on my retelling TBR is Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. And this is actually Femmes Afictionados book club pick for October, November. We're going to have our live show in early December. And this is a Rumpelstiltskin retelling, and there's like a fairy kingdom, and I think there's like ice fairies and lots of super wintry atmosphere in this book. So I'm definitely looking forward to picking this up this time of year. I think it's going to be perfect, and I've heard wonderful things about this book. I really liked Uprooted. But I think I gave it 4 stars. I wasn't a huge fan of like the last third of that book. I hear this one's a lot better than Uprooted as well. So definitely looking forward to picking this up. Next I have Winter of the Witch by Catherine Arden. This is the 3rd book in the Winter Night trilogy. I am currently reading The Girl in the Tower and really enjoying it. So I can't wait to pick up the 3rd and final book in this installment. This has a bunch of different Russian folklore mixed into its overall story. So it's a mashup of a lot of different folklore retellings. Along with, in this series, you often hear people telling folklore stories, like original folklore stories as well. So it's really beautiful. It's beautifully written, very atmospheric, and yeah, I can't say enough good things about this whole series so far. Next I have Echo North, and this is an East of the Sun, what is it? East of the Sun, West of the Moon, or is it East of the Moon, West of the Sun? One of those. This is a retelling of that. And I think it's also polar fantasy like Spinning Silver and Winter of the Witch. So this has a lot of like cold vibes and snow and ice, and I really want to pick this up soon because I hear wonderful things. I think Jade from J.D. Ray Reads really enjoyed this book, so that says a lot of good things. I mean, I know she likes a lot of polar fantasy, but I think she specifically really likes this book, so I want to pick it up. And I actually adore the color on this cover, this like deep muted plum almost. It's a beautiful cover, and I think maybe December, I hope maybe December I'll pick it up, or maybe this month, I don't know. We shall see. Yet another highly praised retelling that I have not gotten to yet, and that is Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lan Tan. It's a Chinese retelling about the daughter of this moon goddess, and this daughter is not supposed to exist. She's supposed to stay in hiding, otherwise she's in danger, and I don't know much else about that. I don't know much else about the plot. I just do know that it's gotten rave reviews all over BookTube, and I really want to pick this one up. I have another Baba Yaga retelling here, and this is a new release. It's called Thistlefoot. I actually had the ARC for this and just wasn't able to get around to reading it, but I really am looking forward to it. So this is, like I said, Baba Yaga retelling. That's why we have The House with Chicken Legs. And but this one, unlike The House with Chicken Legs by Sophie Anderson, this is an adult book. And it's about the Yaga siblings, Beltane and Isaac, and they've been estranged since childhood, and they're reunited to find out that they've been bequested this sentient house, the house with chicken legs. I guess adventures ensue from there, and I'm looking forward to picking this up. I'm looking forward to hearing what other people think about this book. I might even be doing a Baba Yaga reading vlog, like where I read The House with Chicken Legs and then Thistlefoot and kind of like compare the two, or compare and contrast the middle grade versus the adult kind of retellings of these books. Something I've been kind of like playing around with in my head. Might be something I do this month. We shall see. So I have a much darker retelling here, and that is a retelling of Dracula. So this is A Diary of Blood, and this is about one of Dracula's brides, and it's like a horror fantasy romance. From what I know, it's very romantic and really, really beautifully written. And this has gotten a new cover recently because it was originally self-published, I believe. But I hear it's really lyrical and beautiful. And yeah, so it's about the first bride of Dracula. So I wanted to get to this in October, but obviously it's now November. It still may be a good time to read this. So, and I think I did put it on my TBR, but my TBR for this month is very loose. My feelings are just that I want to try to read 15 books or complete all of the prompts using a different book for each prompt. I don't know if that's going to happen. We'll see. I also want to basically read as many retellings as possible, and just fit in everything that I can. In terms of retellings. But I really like the new cover for this book, and yeah, I like the idea of reading a book from the perspective of Dracula's wife. Next I have a couple of like comics, basically, graphic novels, if you will. This is Fables, Legends in Exile, and so if you're looking for a short book to read for this readathon, pick up one of the books in this series. But I think this is about all of the different Fable characters, but in not as much of a nice way. So I don't know which retellings are happening in each setup. But as you can see here, we have what looks like Snow White with her apple, and there's a guy coming out of a wolf costume, which makes me think that's Red Riding Hood retelling. So yeah, a whole bunch of different retellings in this comic series, in this graphic novel series, and I've heard that it's really, really good from a lot of different people. I don't hear as much about it recently, but I have heard really good things, and it would be a really good short one to pick up for this readathon. Another short one, and this is a Sleeping Beauty retelling, I believe, and that's Neil Gaiman's The Sleeper and the Spindle. I'm a huge fan of Neil Gaiman, and this is really short, and the pictures are just gorgeous. And it's written like an old fairy tale, in terms of like the art around the edges of the like pages that have the story on them. There's like extra art around the edges, and you have these big like the first letter is like super fancy. Basically like a little bit of a twisted version of Sleeping Beauty, and I'll probably love anything Neil Gaiman writes, so I definitely want to try this one out. The last book on this list is Lore Olympus by Rachel Smith, and this was originally a webcomic, and it is a Hades and Persephone retelling. This is volume 1. I think there's 2 volumes out, a third one coming out soon, or maybe it just came out. Could be wrong there. But I've heard really good things, and it's a romance. So this is like a fantasy romance graphic novel about Hades and Persephone. And I hear there's like a lot of mutual pining and kind of drama in here. It's very slow burn, and I'm looking forward to picking this up as well. I lied. Finally, I have The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reed. I have not yet read this. I don't know why I left it on my shelf thinking that I had already read it, but no, I have not. This is a kind of like mashup of Hungarian history and Jewish folklore, and it's a fantasy romance, but dark. So I hear a lot of people kind of go into this not realizing how dark it is, but it is quite a dark read from what I've heard. And I've heard that if you are a fan of The Bear and the Nightingale and or Uprooted, that you will enjoy this book too. So Still very much looking forward to picking this one up. It was on my TBR for this month, so hopefully I do pick it up this month. We shall see. Okay, I could be wrong. I don't even know. I think that's it. I think those are all the retellings that I own that I have not yet read that I want to pick up. But I guess I could be wrong. I could have forgotten something else. Who knows? It's me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please click the like button and comment down below. Let me know which one of these books I should pick up next. Let me know which one of these you really want to see me read. If you haven't already subscribed, I'd love to have you subscribe to my channel. If you want to follow me on social media, all of my social media is linked down below if you want to follow me on Instagram, Goodreads, TikTok, or Twitter. Until next time, fellow readers, keep reading and living your best life.